Sylvie of the multiple award-winning The Queen Sylvie Show. You want to expand and get noticed? Then come outside your box and into our world. Internet advertising has a real impact on global awareness and even sales, so let's make an impact together. Offering for a limited time advertising and sponsorship packages that excel your purpose. So contact Queen Sylvie or Smooth Tim for the exciting opportunities that awaits. Yeah.
Are you tired of driving around a dirty car? Say hello to the ultimate solution for your car. Quick Auto Detail, home, work, or wherever. Their mobile car spa will clean and shine your car anytime and anywhere. Their products are gentle on your car's paint, and they use only the highest quality materials. Book your appointment now.
Hey kids, how would you like to hear this on the screen instead of the great show you came to see? That's what you sound like. Honest. Please cooperate and do your part in keeping this theater quiet so everyone, including you, can enjoy it. Remember, lots of adults and kids, too, paid admission to enjoy the show. We must insist on absolute quiet.
Welcome back to This Authoritarian Life, me and She's podcast, where we seek to establish total control over emotional health and well-being. This week, we're welcoming back old friend, Donald Trump.
Glad to be here as always. Hey, you want to end the war in Ukraine?
Still no.
Okay, worth a shot.
Forget Ukraine, guys. I want to talk about a big news week over in America.
You mean the Travis and Taylor engagement?
I hate Taylor.
I love Taylor.
I love Taylor. She's a terrific person.
But I meant more some big moves by our boy Donald.
I like that he banned burning flags. No one should ever insult the government like that.
Well, that's right. But also, I couldn't just let people destroy something that is so important to your economy. Frankly, most of those flags were made by you.
Strong facts.
I really enjoyed you bullying central bank, forcing government to take over technology company, and sending police to home of disloyal former employee.
I couldn't have done it better myself. Should sue this guy for IP theft.
He really is ripping off all kinds of material from us.
What do you mean us, Vladimir? No one is stealing anything from your broke pariah ass.
What?
I'm just kidding. Why are you so insecure? Relax.
Vladimir's right. For more than 2,000 years, you guys have been stealing ideas from America. Well, the tables are turned, suckers, because under my leadership, we will now be very strongly stealing ideas from you.
Huh.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? It's time for the final countdown. The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's rock.
Hey, what's happening? This is Smooth Tim, and thank you for dropping by and spending another Wednesday with me on Tim's Tidbits. Sure hope you enjoyed this week's show. We got a little bit of information to pass along, and life has been dealing out some real interesting cards this week, and we'll go over a couple of them and see what the heck's going on around the world. Anyhow, hey, let's dive right into a little bit of some of the stuff going on, and as you know, we're always trying to pick fights around the world, and our current POTUS is real interested in ending the war on drugs, whether it be fentanyl coming into the country and or from down through the Mexican border, through the Canadian border. But it looks like he's extended this fight just a little bit when it comes to the war on drugs. And in fact, he has authorized the deployment of U.S. military ships down into the Gulf of Mexico, Caribbean area, and more specifically focusing around the Venezuela area. And just the other day, they shot a suspected gunboat out of the water. And we'll see how Venezuela specifically responds to this. And if you haven't heard a little bit about what's going on, let me catch you up on this, and then we'll see. Hey, why not, just start stuff all around the world as if the U.S. doesn't have enough issues and problems going on, right?
A large buildup of U.S. naval forces in and around the southern Caribbean has officials in Caracas and experts in the U.S. questioning why they've been mobilized. Drone footage on Sunday captured a U.S. Navy-guided missile destroyer docked near the entrance to the Panama Canal. Last week, a U.S. official told Reuters that 7 U.S. warships, as well as a nuclear-powered fast attack submarine, are in or en route to the region, with over 4,500 sailors and Marines. While U.S. Coast Guard and Navy ships often operate in the southern Caribbean, this military buildup surpasses normal levels. U.S. President Donald Trump has said combating drug cartels is a central goal for his administration, and U.S. officials have told Reuters that the military efforts aim to address threats from those cartels. But it is unclear how the U.S. military presence would disrupt the drug trade. Most seaborne drug traffic to the U.S. moves via the Pacific, not the Atlantic where the U.S. forces are. Caribbean shipments largely arrive by clandestine flights. Venezuelan officials believe their government might be the real target. Venezuelan Defense Minister Vladimir Padrino issued a warning to the U.S. on Sunday.
Le digo yo a los imperialistas del norte, nosotros estamos preparándonos.
I'm speaking to the imperialists of the north. We're getting ready and we will fight if you dare set foot in Venezuela. We're watching events around the world.
Nosotros estamos observando los acontecimientos en el mundo.
In early August, the United States doubled its reward to $50 million for information leading to the arrest of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro over allegations of drug trafficking and links to criminal groups. Venezuelan officials have said the U.S. is threatening the country with naval deployments in violation of international treaties, and dismissed U.S. claims that the country and its leadership are key to major international drug trafficking.
Yeah, interesting, huh? So we'll see how that plays out. So yeah, start some stuff with Venezuela. So I would advise anybody that lives in the U.S. or is a U.S. citizen to currently maybe scratch that one off your list for a while. I don't think I'd be going to Venezuela for any vacations anytime shortly. It seems that, yeah, Donald's got them fired up a little bit, and who knows? As I said, it is alleged and suspected and all these other terms, not necessarily rock solid evidence. So, hey, see what happens down there. Also, hey, speaking of what's happening, last week we covered that Donald and Putin had a meeting up in Alaska, trying to settle the disagreement that is currently going on in Ukraine. And he came in with the attitude that he's not going to leave without a ceasefire. Well, he did leave without a ceasefire, kind of like he did with the other 7 supposed wars that he ended. That well, 6 of those or 7 of those may have ended in a ceasefire, but he didn't end the war. And this one, yeah, they're not going to have any ceasefire in Ukraine anytime soon. In fact, I think the evening that Vladimir got home, he dropped a few bombs on Ukraine just to let them know he was back. And, to let them know they're back and to get a little bit of support from his buddies in China and other way around the world. They are proposing getting a pipeline going to China that would, supply Russian oil to China, which is one of the big leverage items that Russia has with the rest of the world, because they do have an oil supply. They are oil rich, kind of like the U.S., not quite as rich. But in any regards, they were in Shanghai and just over the weekend. And in fact, the Prime Minister, President of India, however you say that, was also there. So now there's some serious world leaders, making alliances outside of U.S. influence in regards to the supply of Russian oil. And the pipeline is proposed to make it happen.
Welcome back. Well, Russia and China signing a new agreement for a new gas pipeline after Vladimir Putin met with Xi Jinping in Shanghai yesterday. This binding agreement sets up a massive pipeline to deliver gas from Russia to China through Mongolia over the next 30 years. It's all happening at the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit underway right now. It features leaders from China, Russia, India, North Korea, and Iran will show up tomorrow. India's Prime Minister Modi visiting China for the first time in 7 years as President Trump's 50% tariff on India took effect last week. The president calling the U.S.-India-U.S. trade relationship, quote, a totally one-sided disaster, and adding they have now offered to cut their tariffs to nothing, but it's getting late. They should have done so years ago.
Well, I think the relationship between Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin is really no surprise, Maria. We've talked at length on this program about the no-limits friendship between those two rogues, if you will. I think the real news here is Prime Minister Modi of India and his embrace of Vladimir Putin. That's a clear signal to the United States. And I think there are a couple of lessons here. First of all, I met Modi way back when he was chief minister of Gujarat, I think more than 15 years ago. We misjudged him then. And I wonder if we're misjudging him now, just because he's the head of a major democracy, the most populous democracy in the world, doesn't mean that he shares our worldview or shares our idea of what's in our mutual interest. I think the second lesson is that, if we are really serious about considering communist China the greatest threat to the United States and our way of life, we need India. It's just a fact. We can't fight them alone in Asia Pacific. We need the heft of not just Australia, not just our friends in Japan, but also India. So I think this meeting is highlighting a major challenge for the Trump administration.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's losing our friends fast, isn't he, folks? Yeah, and he wants to, he's so concerned about the security of the United States, and then anybody that's an ally or, at least semi-friendly to the United States, he decides to kick him in the nuts with a 50% tariff, and then can't understand why they buddy up to our enemy. I don't know. And some of our friends, our allies, are getting attacked as we speak, and in a whole bunch of different ways. And we've discussed this in the past, some ways that they can electronically screw around, and put ransomware or some other type of rogue software virus, into the various countries' economy, and then, hold them hostage and demand some type of, ransom payment. But now, they've extended that a little bit further. I think I talked one time about some European leaders and American leaders being subject to what they thought maybe was ultrasound, penetration, making them sick, making them dizzy, and having some long-term effects. But the latest attack that I came across that I thought was horrendous is a GPS jamming that took place as one of the EU leaders' jets was about to land. They was hit with a GPS jamming device and lost total track of where the hell they even were on their jet. They think this whole thing originated possibly in Russia. Who knows? Let's find out.
A plane carrying the EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen was targeted by GPS jamming while trying to land in Bulgaria. A spokesperson has said it's believed the interference was carried out by Russia. The plane landed safely after the pilots used paper maps. Senior international correspondent Melissa Bell has more on this from Paris. So, Melissa, good to have you on. What more do we know about what happened here? I mean, pilots reverting and resorting to using paper maps just shows the incredible jamming that occurred here, where the plane systems, essentially the GPS systems, went down.
Froze, that's right. We only found out about this today as a result of the Commission speaking out about it, Eleni, after getting word from Bulgarian authorities that this GPS jamming was, they believe, the work of Moscow. But it happened, of course, on Sunday. This is part of Ursula von der Leyen, Europe's top leader, of course, the Commission President's whistle-stop tour of Eastern Europe, designed specifically to shore up support for Ukraine. On this tour, as she landed in southern Bulgaria, this incident on what was a charter plane, the Commission's also recognized that they don't know whether she herself was specifically targeted or the plane in general, but certainly very concerning. As you say, the pilots having to resort to paper maps to land the plane safely. It did land safely and she was able to carry on with her work. But she pointed out on the tarmac there, after, of course, learning of this incident, but before the rest of the world had learned of it, that there was an urgency that we needed to keep in mind about fighting Russia and continuing to support Ukraine. You can see the images of her landing on Sunday on that airport tarmac in southern Bulgaria safely. But another example, as she said, of the need to keep a very close eye on Russia and continue fighting.
Yeah, that'd be a trip. And, that they had to resort to paper maps. And where the hell are we going? What's supposed to be the GPS location of this particular field we're landing in? That could be very difficult. Yeah, you're going to have to take all these coordinates and figure it out. Thank God that they were able to land. And interesting that, they're finding a million different ways to attack us. And I'm going to show you another one here in just a little bit. Some other attacks that is happening on you personally. We'll bring that home in a couple episodes here on down the line. Before, we get on, quick little ad and we'll be right back, folks.
For generations, the National Guard has answered the call. From storming beaches abroad to keeping America safe at home, a proud tradition of service, sacrifice, and strength. And today, that call to service has never been bolder. Whether it's laying down mulch, picking up used condoms and cigarette butts at the local park, keeping a watchful eye on minorities, or breaking up arguments about politics with firm, one-sided decisiveness, the National Guard is there. Whether it is assisting leadership on top-secret missions, or guarding important state secrets, or just helping everyday citizens, or keeping the peace in Joe Biden's reckless America, the National Guard is there. From Chicago to Portland, San Francisco to Philadelphia, we're deploying where America needs us most. Places Trump wants election victories, like cities with mouthy mayors or states with obnoxious governors. Because when the commander-in-chief says jump, we say, how high, Mr. President? And when he says white, we say, how many ply, Mr. President? The National Guard no longer just your state citizen soldiers, but a proud extension of Trump's private army. The National Guard, yesterday's heroes, today's groundskeepers of democracy.
Okay. Yeah, ad came that was a very timely ad. I didn't know they were trying to recruit. Man, right. Because we do know that, Trump sent the National Guard into D.C. because there was a emergency with the amount of crime that was in D.C. He's also, one in San Diego, was it? But he got some backlash from that. And he's talking about wanting to go to Chicago. He just wishes the governor of Chicago and the mayor were more receptive to the idea and would ask him to send the troops, but they're like, no, thank you. You can keep them the hell out of here. And the debate back and forth is that he's going to send them anyway. So, wow. We'll see how that all works out. And, I don't know how you people feel about, putting the National Guard into these cities that don't necessarily need that type of enforcement. I mean, who's actually enforcing the law? Is it local law enforcement, or is it our national government? I mean, where are we drawing the line? Now they're talking about arming some of these people. So I don't know, folks. You let me know what you think about, putting armed National Guardsmen on the streets of these cities when we have perfectly fine law enforcement in those cities as it is. And we don't need another Kent State. And don't let us forget what happened at Kent State when you had a National Guardsman who got a little bit trigger happy, and now we ended up with 4 dead students in Kent State, right? So, hey, hopefully this doesn't go to this extreme. Hopefully we can get this under control. Trump gets it under control before something happens in one of these cities. And let's listen to what a few of the veterans have to say, actual people who did service, and see what their point of view is, other than, just sending the troops into American cities willy-nilly when he feels like it because it's a Democratic-run city. Check it out.
Remember your oath, the oath that we took.
There are no fucking enemies out here to destroy in close combat.
We're not under a state of emergency.
You have rights. You are not obligated to follow unlawful orders.
If you're not against fascism, you're supporting it.
What would you say to the National Guard soldiers?
I've been in your boots. I went to Iraq, I went to Afghanistan, I served. I took the same oath that you all did.
I am far more fired up now than any of my 5 previous deployments. And I've been around the world. Cuba, 95, Bosnia, 96, Kosovo, 99, Iraq, 08, Afghanistan, 2013.
I'm a retired disabled combat veteran, served a little over 20 years in the U.S. Army.
As a veteran myself, it really struck a chord in me. I was already antsy about what's happening with the Donald Trump regime.
The illegal occupation of United States territory by the U.S. military is just that. It's illegal. The president had no right to do that. We're not under a state of emergency where our sovereignty is in danger. Okay, he's pushing a false narrative.
This is an intimidation tactic by a man who does not respect the fucking Constitution that we fought for. And that's why, as a veteran, I believe that we are oath-bound to fight. Our democracy is in danger. Our entire way of life is in danger. The American experiment, good, bad, and ugly, is in danger right now.
This is a clear escalation of the intimidation that this administration is trying to do against the American people. The mission of the military is never to police its own citizens. That's never been the core function of the military in any way, shape, or form. It was something that the Founding Fathers were scared against. That's why they didn't have a standing Army and a standing Marine Corps and Navy in the early days of the Republic, because they were scared of somebody taking control of it and using it against the citizens. That being said, we have a standing military now, and all this is doing by putting them in the streets of, antagonizing citizens and whatnot, is just degrading the trust of the people in their military.
The intimidation factor is what really angers me the most. You should look at your military as they are here to protect me, not they are here to police me.
I really encourage any soldier who ever believed in that Constitution, ever believed in that oath, took that oath seriously, join us.
Remember your oath. The oath that we took when we all put these uniforms on was, I swear to support and defend the Constitution. And it is, in my opinion, an absolute violation of that oath to come out here and point and carry your weapons on American streets, to put your mine-resistant vehicles on American streets. It is absolutely, in my opinion, undermining the public confidence of the military. People are going to have trouble trusting the military when the military is policing the people. That's why the Posse Comitatus Act prohibits the military from doing law enforcement activity.
I understand that if you're being told to go here, that means your colonels have signed off on it, your sergeant majors have signed off on it. But remember, my lie, they signed off a lot of that shit too. And I was following orders is not a fucking defense. If somebody's going to swing when crimes are happening, you know in your heart right from wrong, and you know what right looks like. You know what these people out here, you see them out here. There are no legitimate targets out here, right? The military, especially the Army, is designed to engage and destroy our enemies in close combat. There are no fucking enemies out here to destroy in close combat. We're not even at war with anyone right now. So if you're going to be here, remember your oath.
You had your right hand raised to support and defend the Constitution, and I want you to know that you have rights. You are not obligated to follow unlawful orders, and there is the GI Rights Hotline, which is 1-877-447-4487, which you can call and get guidance on if the orders that you are being given are lawful or not. And if they're not, I hope that you have the courage to stand up and do the right thing.
Wherever we see National Guard, we're going to inform and educate them. My protest is against the National Guard president, not against the National Guard troops.
I agree 100% with those guys. Yeah, come on. Yeah, you're going to get into that situation to where something happens where you're going to have to take some type of action. And when that action results in the injury of a citizen and or the death of a citizen, I was just following orders is not going to get you off the hook. Sad situation that we are in. Speaking of a sad situation, is there still people that agree that this is a good idea? Yeah, we should deploy the National Guard into our cities because they're all out of control. Yes, we should, separate families as we deport them back to where they came from because they are illegal citizens. And no, they do not deserve any type of due process rights. No, because it says right in the Constitution that that's for citizens only, right? No, it doesn't say that. It says everybody, but we can interpret that how we want when we're on the right. And speaking of that, sometimes we go to these various events and we hear people. Sometimes we just try to relax because we're tired of it all. And if we're tired of it all, we might go to, let's say, a comedy show. I used to go all the time. Sylvie is a comedian also. We used to go all the time. And people go up there and they talk just about anything. And especially if it's a hot topic, and hot topics obviously is going to be anymore, we're going to be Trump. It's going to be Trump. And if you go into a comedy shop, expect to hear the comedians up there telling some cracks on jokes on Donald Trump, whether it be about his trip to Alaska, whether it be as we talked earlier about the meeting in Shanghai, with Putin and Xi, and he gets left out. I'm sure they're going to be telling jokes about this. But what happens if you decide you want to take on a comedian because you want to defend Donald? Not such a good idea sometimes to try to defend Donald, especially when you have a very good comedian up on stage and he just might tear you down.
Listen, man, I'm not a Trump supporter, never have been, never will be. But I gotta admit, this motherfucker is somewhat charismatic. Oh, shut up, we know. Listen, bitch, I know you're a fucking Trump supporter because you won't shut the fuck up. But if you don't shut the fuck up, I'm gonna put my dick in your mouth. I wish you would. That way I got a reason to get rid of this last $2 in my wallet. I bet you your pussy tastes like cold French fries. You don't want to fuck with me. I'm like Denzel in Training Day. I'm surgical with this bitch. Matter of fact, I want to talk to all the black people. I want to talk to the niggas in here for a second. Look at her. What's happening? No. She don't have to be thrown out. She don't have to be thrown out. But here's where you fuck it up. Here's where you fuck it up. I love you. Well, then if you love me, suck my dick and shut the fuck up. Listen. Listen. I don't want them to be thrown out because trust me. Here's what I'm saying. Here's where you fuck it up. You're turning this into a political thing when this is a comedy show. This is a comedy show. You all in your feelings over Trump, and this is a fucking comedy show. be when you need him. I can see by the puss on your face you're taking this shit serious. Just laugh, motherfucker. No, chill. Let him be. I got this. Okay, everybody in this motherfucker love me, but they ain't acting like you. I gotta tell you something. And listen, here's the beauty of an American democracy. Whether you like the man or not, you all have the right to vote for whoever the fuck you want to vote for. So you did your thing. But I gotta hand it to you, man. You guys' level of loyalty towards Trump is breathtaking. It doesn't matter how dangerous his actions or how irresponsible his words. Y'all stand behind that motherfucker no matter what. You guys are like battered wives. As long as he comes home with a box of chocolates and an apology, you'll stay.
You guys are like battered wives. As long as he comes home with a box of chocolates and an apology, you're okay with it. Oh, Lord. Now, we have all kinds of things going on. And, hey, Donald is just one of them. And another thing happened just over last week is obviously we had another school shooting, in which the kids were, at prayer prior to school, first day of school, and 2 were killed. There was a number injured. But, this is getting ridiculous. There's too many shootings. And, the debate back and forth, is it the gun? Is it the person? Do we need more gun control? Is there too much influence in Congress by gun manufacturing lobbyists that want to keep making all kinds of money and really don't care about where their product ends up, whether it's in good hands, bad hands, just as long as, they're seeing some green coming their way. But I saw a little interesting clip about a gun debate, rather. Should the guns control even be a subject? I believe it should be a subject. I think we should talk about gun control and who should have the right to own a gun, because I don't think everybody has the right to own a gun. But hey, that's another debate, another talk, but let's listen to what a few people said here on this little clip. It's kind of cute.
More people and more crime is committed and more people are killed with hammers every year than guns. Look at the facts.
I will look that up. I don't think that's true, actually.
That is true.
In the United States, though?
Yes, sir. That is true. Look it up. It's on. You can Google it. It's true. It's actually true.
So the number of murder victims and the weapons used. Okay, number 1, handguns, 8,029. Number 2, firearms, type not stated, 4,863. Number 3, knives or cutting instruments, personal weapons, fists, feet. Then rifles at 455. Then blunt objects, clubs, hammers, 393. So the 300, the hammers, that stat is just wrong.
Back to your question, Second Amendment is still my right and it's still important to me.
Everybody needs to pack a gun, then there wouldn't be mass shootings. If everybody was packing it and we had the Second Amendment, mass shootings would come down in a hurry.
Do you think the solution to the mass shootings would be more guns in more people's hands?
Yep, exactly.
Did that sound right when you said it out loud?
Yes.
Which do you think are more dangerous, drag shows or guns to children?
Drag shows.
How many people do you think have been killed at a drag show?
I don't know, but the long-term effects are detrimental.
How many people do you think die every year from guns?
I have no idea.
48,000.
48,000? Yeah. Okay. Well, there's probably 100,000 die from drag shows.
Let's run this scenario through our heads. Someone starts committing a mass shooting. A guy pulls out a gun, he starts shooting at that guy, and then another guy comes up and he sees 2 guys shooting at each other, and then which one does he shoot at? And then a fourth guy, he comes over, he starts shooting, and then a lady comes over and she starts shooting at the other ones, but she's not sure who started shooting, and then the police come, and then you got, I don't know, where are we at, 5 or 6 people shooting at each other.
Because in any situation, you can tell who the crazy murderer is.
Really?
Yes.
How do you tell who the crazy murderer is in the situation? So we have 50 people that are shooting at each other, and a person that can recognize a crazy murderer will take out the right. That was stupid. And that was one of the. But hey, there you go. How do you solve gun violence? By putting more guns on the street. Well, at least that's one man's input. Anyhow, hey, let's keep on keeping on and move on in the show. And we've talked before in regards to when going to the airport and how every once in a while people will get stopped or targeted by DEA as they're coming into the gate, and they'll target your carry-on luggage. Go through your luggage. You have an excessive amount of cash or whatever. They'll seize the cash until you can explain where you got it. And then they're holding on to that cash, tying that cash up in court. Some people have never even seen this back. We've talked about this for a few months to a few years back. We've had this conversation with what's going on. In this particular case, I'm happy to say the one individual was able to have a judge sue, or he was able to sue the DEA, rather, and have a judge side with him so he can get his money back that I think was illegally confiscated and held up for whatever use that the DEA is holding on to your money when they do seize it from you at the airport.
New at 5, a Georgia man won a legal battle after the Drug Enforcement Agency took thousands of dollars from him, even though he did nothing wrong. Channel 2's Sophia Choi is live at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport in Clayton County with how this could happen to you.
Yeah, Karen, Brian Moore Jr. came here to the airport to catch a flight to L.A. He brought with him more than $8,000 to shoot a music video. But what happened to him at a gate here grounded his music career.
They told me that I looked suspicious, and they were just going to take my money based off the fact that I looked suspicious.
DEA agents took the $8,500 Brian Moore Jr. had planned to spend on a photo shoot and music video in Los Angeles. You can see in this picture from that day in March of 2021, he had green hair at the time, but that is not a crime.
I hadn't done anything wrong. I wasn't doing anything wrong.
In fact, the feds never charged Moore with any crime, but they kept his money. He hired a lawyer who got his money back, but Moore was still out more than $15,000 in legal fees. Last week, a federal appeals court ruled the government had to pay Moore's legal bills, too.
I felt a little bit of justice, finally.
Earlier this year, the DEA announced it was going to suspend the program that was used to take Moore's money. But other federal and local law enforcement agencies are still using civil forfeiture to take people's cash. Dan Albin is an attorney with the Institute for Justice who filed Moore's appeal. He says civil forfeiture is driven by profit because the agencies get to keep the money they seize.
That gives them a strong incentive to engage in seizures and forfeitures of cash so that they can supplement their budget and spend that money on virtually whatever they want.
We reached out to the DEA but haven't heard back. Meanwhile, attorney Dan Albin says to stop civil forfeiture abuses from happening, the law needs to change both on the state and federal levels.
Civil forfeitures. Yeah, well, yeah, we've talked about it before where these people get, cash taken from them. It's interesting how they target. So they're going to take that $10,000 from you, make all kinds of threats, so you'll leave the money with them. Obviously, you're already pressed. You're at the airport. You got to get to where you got to get. And then you've got all these legal fees to try to get $10,000 back. This guy spent $15,000 to prove a point, and I'm glad he was able to prove the point, to get $10,000 back. That is just utterly ridiculous. That is definitely an abuse of power. They like to call civil forfeiture. And who knows, I want to go on to another story, and this happens to be a postal inspector who seemed to be living a high life. He's an ex-postal inspector, but some people are wondering about, I guess maybe his expenditures may have been a little excessive, especially for, his position as a postal inspector. Maybe he was skimming. Maybe he was exercising civil forfeiture. Who knows? Check out the story. We'll be right back.
Sky 5 over Scott Kelly's Pembroke home. Prosecutors say the former Boston postal inspector used stolen cash to put in that patio, heat and light his pool, and install granite countertops on his outdoor bar. Kelly is accused of stealing more than $330,000. Prosecutors say $4,300 went toward drinks and expenses on 3 Caribbean cruises, and $15,400 went toward 2 sexual escorts. Kelly's job was to investigate frauds, scams, and theft that targeted seniors. Prosecutors say he stole money from packages sent by victims of a Jamaican telemarketing scam and kept that money for himself. Prosecutors say between 2019 and 2023, Kelly used emails to trick postal workers into handing over to him packages flagged as part of the scam. None of the victims got their money back. He's also accused of using another worker's code to steal thousands from an evidence vault, then blaming it on another inspector who was a direct report to him. Now, Kelly was released on $25,000 unsecured bond. Again, he pleaded not guilty. His lawyer told us he wouldn't have a comment. He does face several decades behind bars.
Yeah, well, good. What an idiot. See? He was exercising his civil forfeiture to snag your money that you'd already been scammed out of. What an asshole. I should have saved him for one of the asshole merit badges. That's crazy. Yeah, he had a good thing going on there until he got caught. What did they say? How many thousands? Oh, around $330K. Yeah, that he had scammed out of his position before he finally got caught. Speaking of getting scammed, folks, and that is one of my priority, is to help you not get freaking scammed. That's why I talk to you about a whole bunch of different little things in regards to skimming devices and other things. That's what they're doing out there now. You can go to the ATM, put your card in, punch the amount of cash that you're getting. You'll hear, take your card and waiting to dispense your cash, and no cash. So what's going on? They're calling it a cash trap that they're putting onto your ATMs at your local banks. So here's another one to keep up with, folks, and brought to you by Tim's Tidbits. Watch out for the cash trap.
The cash didn't come out.
They were the unsuspecting victims of cash trapping.
International fugitive wanted for financial crimes across the world finally met his match here in North Texas. Authorities caught up with a Romanian man last week near Houston. They say he was targeting customers at bank cash machines in both Louisville and Plano. Maria Guerrero shows us how cash trapping works.
I mean, it looks just like a part of the ATM. And I just thought it was going to be a door that was going to pop up and get me the money.
Jonathan Hoag's $700 withdrawal wasn't stuck in a faulty ATM machine.
I was just totally perplexed. I didn't know what to think was happening.
Ray McCormick's $100 wasn't caught in a broken cash machine either.
The cash didn't come out.
They were the unsuspecting victims of cash trapping.
I just got stolen from. It was just a horrible feeling, just a lot of money.
And I was doing forgery investigations for 32 years, and this is a new one for us.
Here's how it works. We're pulling up to this ATM. Everything looks normal. The victim will come and get cash. The machine, there you go, the sound that it's working. But in cash trapping, nothing happens right here. Okay, so instead of getting your money like this, as normal, cash trapping, nothing happens. See, crooks put in a device that catches your cash.
Devices that they're using fits perfectly over the dispenser mechanism of the ATM machine. It has a special tool that is handmade by the perpetrator to remove the device.
Plano's theft happened in July at this Bank of America at Parker and Preston in Plano.
This individual was waiting for the person to leave, and then as soon as they left, he would come take the device off, take the cash out.
Fortunately, Hogue snapped a picture and filed a police report, leading to a multi-agency investigation and the arrest of the alleged culprit and 2 others last week in the Houston area where he was living. Ionut Iova, a Romanian national, is also wanted by Hungarian authorities and police in Canada, with one alleged cash-trapping fraudster himself finally trapped. Authorities urge continued vigilance.
Man, I'm not moving. If I go out there and I'm taking $300-400 out of the bank and it ain't coming out, my car is not moving until somebody from that bank, a representative from that bank, comes out there and gives me my $300 to $400. It should be dispensed out. Ain't nobody gonna put up. Come on. Driving away would be the worst thing you do. And I'm not going to visit the bank traditionally after hours, so there's another way to avoid that. Because who knows? We've showed so many ways that they could put a skimming device that's going to read your card. Now we're going to put a cash trapping device that's going to trap your money. Absolutely crazy, folks. Absolutely crazy. Hey, let's move on to another good section of the show that I know you're going to enjoy, and that's when I say, dude, seriously, what the fuck? This What the Fuck moment is brought to you by a crazy woman who decided that she was a little bit upset with her husband, and she was going to make him pay for his obvious, probably infidelities with maybe a sulfuric acid bath.
A shocking case out of Pasco County tonight where a woman is accused of dousing her husband with sulfuric acid. Hello, I'm Keith Kate.
And I'm Paul Lucero. Thank you for joining us. Deputies say she barricaded the bedroom door, trapping him inside until deputies rescued him. News Channel 8's Georgia MacArthur joins us live from Tampa General, where the victim is currently being treated. Georgia, any idea how the victim's doing tonight?
Well, Keith and Paula, we are told that the victim who was flown here to Tampa General Hospital is in critical condition. Now, investigators did not reveal a motive today, but through court records, we learned that the victim recently filed for a divorce, and today the couple was supposed to have a divorce hearing in family court. Inside the new Port Richey home, still taped off with a biohazard warning and an orange sticker deeming it unsafe. Detectives say Sean Ying, he poured sulfuric acid on her husband, Robert Hayden, while he slept.
He was suffering burns over most of his body, chemical burns.
Investigators say he told 911 operators she poured it on Hayden to hurt him and that she tried to kill him several times.
It does appear we've been out there numerous times for verbal domestics. It does not appear to be any arrests were made. However, there was some domestic issues at that residence.
Court records show the couple married just last August, and the victim filed for divorce back in March.
He met her online. He met her on the internet, and they were going to get married. And I said, oh my God, how do you just meet somebody on the internet?
In court today, he sobbed uncontrollably as she faced a judge.
Additionally, to make the court aware, after meeting with one of the investigating detectives earlier this morning, there's a very high probability that the charges will soon be upgraded due to the fact that the victim may soon pass.
Now, the victim's wife, which is the suspect, she received no bond for the attempted murder charge, but a $50,000 bond for aggravated assault. We are told that could change depending on whether or not the victim survives. Reporting live in Tampa, I'm Georgia MacArthur, 8 on your side.
That guy is just, that'd be horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible. Yeah. Threw sulfuric acid on him. So he probably, besides having it on the surface, burning the skin, he probably ingested some into his lungs. And oh my God. Anyhow, hey, definitely. What the fuck? And they'd been married, what? 7 months. Yeah, they said that they'd married. It took 7 months and he'd already started to file for divorce because of the obvious issues and cops that had been there before. Crazy. Speaking of cops, let's go into the next segment of the show, and that is our asshole merit badge. And who's going to get it? This week, it is actually 2 candidates, right? I have 2 candidates for my asshole merit badge. And both of them happen to be police officers. Can you believe it, folks? Like police officers that could actually fit into the category of an asshole. But yeah, every once in a while, one of them slips up. This one kind of slipped up in writing maybe a little bit too many DUI tickets, and or driving under the influence, however, or OVI, whatever state you're in, however they put that, your blood alcohol content's a little too high. And but what happens if maybe you write one too many tickets for OVI, for DUI, what have you, and the people were not even drunk, and now it's catching up with you. Check it out for this week. Asshole nominee.
It has happened again, folks. Another sober driver has come forward saying she, too, was arrested by a state trooper for DUI.
She now makes the 8th innocent person arrested by this single trooper for a crime she didn't commit.
Our chief investigator, Jeremy Finley, continues the sobering problem investigation tonight. Jeremy, she contacted you after seeing your last story.
Yeah, that's right, guys. It was just last week when I reported that Trooper James Zahn had arrested 7 different people for DUI, and all their blood work later came back showing they were completely sober. Jane Bondurant saw that story, and she called me saying, it happened to me, too.
Put your hands straight out beside you.
So there's something you need to know right off the bat about this video of Jane Bondurant's field sobriety test last November. It is not being recorded by a fellow police officer. What made your friend think, I need to record this?
I think she was so shocked that I'd even been arrested and that I was even doing it.
Bondurant's friend started recording after Bondurant was involved in a fender bender with a Franklin police officer. THP trooper James Zahn was then called in, writing Bondurant had bloodshot, watery eyes and appeared to be impaired.
Keep in mind, I'm 71 years old, and I've just been in a wreck. I felt like I was doing really well, and I felt like my friend with me felt the same way.
Listen to what happened instead.
You're under arrest, okay?
Oh, gosh.
No.
What kind of impairment,
sir?
Stay back.
What
kind of impairment?
I don't know. I'm not
She followed and did everything you asked.
all that will be discussed in court.
I'm in shock.
Are you really arresting me?
She didn't mention it, but Zahn wasn't arresting someone unfamiliar with law enforcement. Bondurant is a former assistant U.S. attorney. What was it like for you to be arrested for a crime you didn't commit?
Shock was the first reaction, trauma, and the trauma lasted for months because it took for months to be resolved.
And like the 7 other sober drivers charged with DUI by Zahn, Bondurant's blood work came back with no alcohol and no drugs, except for sleeping medication she'd taken the night before. The charges nollied, meaning the DA opted not to prosecute. You're now the 8th sober driver to be arrested by Trooper Zahn.
I think I make people too many.
I'm wondering what you think the THP should do.
I know they've got a problem person.
And we asked Governor Lee what he thinks. I'm wondering if you feel like at this point the THP needs to be reviewing how it's conducting DWI investigations.
Well, I think we have, in fact, just in this past year, put in place a requirement from TDI to provide transparency around those cases. I think that's the first step is transparency.
He's referring to a new state law prompted by our sobering problem investigations that will require the TBI to gather all of the sober drivers arrested for DUI in Tennessee in 2025. But that report won't include cases like Bondurant's. She was arrested last November, and won't detail the impact of these arrests. For Bondurant, she learned her insurance was being dropped.
I just called the guy and said, is this because of the DUI? And he said, yes.
Okay, so some good news. 3 days before she was to lose her insurance, the charges were nollied, and she did keep her insurance. Now, as we've done with each and every story, we reached out to the THP. They emailed me a short while ago with a statement that did not address any of our questions, saying that troopers are highly trained to identify signs of impairment. Bondurant's arrest now makes her the 16th sober Tennessean to be arrested for DUI by state troopers. Half of those arrests made by troopers.
16th sober driver being arrested by Tennessee State Police. See, therein lies a problem. It's insane. And think about the repercussions just like that. You're going to have to go to court to prove your innocence. You're going to have to pay an attorney a legal fee to help you prove your innocence. Your car insurance, just like they said, is going to go up because of this infraction of the law. And you have to prove, again, your innocence. That's insane that a bad cop, we'll call him a bad cop, he's a asshole, can have that kind of a horrible negative influence on your life. Now, asshole, candidate number 2 is from the great city of Toledo, Ohio, a officer. And what did he do? He is an off-duty officer that decided to visit Walmart in his police shirt, little polo shirts that they wear, and steal. And he had to realize he was on film, but check out this story of the hot-fingered Toledo police cop.
A Toledo police officer is charged with theft tonight.
Holland police say he stole multiple times from Walmart.
11 investigates. Digging into this story, Melissa Andrews joins us live in studio. She's got the documents outlining exactly what he's accused of doing. So, Mel, what can you tell us tonight?
Well, I got a tip last week to look into Officer Gregory Long. He's accused of stealing from 2 Walmart locations, the one on Glendale and the one in Holland, on 4 separate occasions. A Holland police report states Officer Long was wearing a Toledo police t-shirt with the badge logo on the front of it when he was caught on video going through the self-checkout in May, bagging but not scanning a $1.97 block of cheddar cheese. Less than 2 weeks later, Long is on this video, the same day he's accused of going through a self-checkout without scanning or paying for nearly $29 worth of cinnamon sticks and razor blades. The Holland police report states all of this was discovered when loss prevention workers from the Glendale Walmart notified the Holland store that a Toledo police officer had stolen from that location and had also shopped at the Holland location. According to the report, the Holland detective obtained the video images of Long at the checkouts and compared them to one another and then to his license plate from video in the parking lot. I received 2 reports on the alleged thefts at the Glendale location in July. In one, he's accused of stealing an item valued under $4. In another, he's accused of combining 2 bags of Turtles candy into one bag and only paying for the one bag.
So this, let me, first off, congratulations, boys, congratulations. The TPD officer stole turtles, not the animal that you put in your aquarium, but the little chocolate treats with peanuts. Stole turtles and razor blades, and now he no longer has a job that he was probably making $80,000 to $100,000 a year at. Yeah. And then other genius boy who decides that he's going to be the DUI Superman of getting those off the streets, and so he goes to the extent of arresting sober people. And so far, he's leading the state. What did they say? There was a total of almost 30, whatever, and he has 8 of those arrests of sober people. So you're going to get DUS, driving. Wait, DWS, yeah, they're driving while sober. Don't get caught down in Tennessee. Watch where you're driving. And Trooper Zahn, Trooper James John, James Zahn will keep an eye out for him. Yeah, if he comes up to your car, oh, you're in trouble. Anyhow, hey, I hope you enjoyed that, folks. I'm ready to get the hell on out of here and enjoy the rest of my Wednesday evening, and I hope you do too. Even more importantly, I hope you enjoy the upcoming weekend. It's supposed to be pretty nice. Might be the last pretty nice one we have before we get into what fall is just around the corner, and we are quickly expediting into the Halloween season. In fact, pumpkin spice is back. That's the scary part about Halloween. Don't you stay away from that pumpkin spice. And in fact, have a great weekend. We'll see you, folks. Bye-bye.
Donald Trump's recent comments about slavery were answered by a letter written to the president 163 years ago. This week, he complained the Smithsonian focuses too much on how bad slavery was. His administration is reviewing the museum's exhibitions to make sure they celebrate American exceptionalism and remove divisive or partisan narratives. That is a hard directive. Any discussion of American exceptionalism must include how bad slavery was. 600,000 people died fighting over it. That is a divisive narrative. You could water it down, avoid how bad it was, but then you would be diminishing the sweeping exceptionalism of Americans who sacrificed so much to end something so at odds with America's ideals. It is exceptional to fight against a moral sin when ridicule and danger are the likely response. It is exceptional to risk your life for freedom when your very appearance is a death sentence. It is exceptional to hold to ideas of liberty and equality you have never experienced because they were written in the nation's founding document. What a document that must be to inspire hope in the midst of such darkness, a faith in things unseen. On this day in 1862, newspaper editor Horace Greeley published a letter to President Abraham Lincoln arguing that American greatness requires confronting slavery's horrors, not minimizing them. The Union cause has suffered and is now suffering immensely from mistaken deference to rebel slavery, Greeley wrote. The letter, titled Prayer for 20 Millions, was published in the New York Tribune. Greeley was not trying to convince Lincoln to oppose slavery. Lincoln already did. He was urging the president to act equal to the moral cause. For Greeley, American exceptionalism meant courage to face uncomfortable truths. Confronting evil directly in the past and present, not minimizing it, demonstrates American greatness. In the past, now,